I grew up watching my father struggle with addiction. By the time that I knew what addiction was, I was already addicted. And I ended up getting in some trouble, and the judge basically told me to do treatment or I was going to do jail time and lose my kids. I was still broken, still out there homeless, didn't have any place to go to. I'm using, pregnant, homeless, living in a van, then living in a tent, and then basically just living on a friend's property in this little shack.
At Set Free Alaska, we dream of all Alaskans experiencing God's love, lasting freedom, and abundant life. It's so important that we come alongside of individuals, not just to help them find freedom from addiction, but also so that they can find hope for their future, employment, jobs that are meaningful for their life and for the purpose of their destiny. Housing, are they in a safe and a sober place to live? Relationships, are their relationships with those who are around them healthy? Are they giving back and engaging in the community? These are all things that come after sobriety that are so important to bring an abundant life to everyone that we serve. The Walden family has done so much to honor the legacy and to use the tragedy that happened with them to promote health, healing, and service delivery in the state of Alaska. And it is so inspiring to see what they've been able to accomplish, and even more so, their hearts. You are going to be so inspired in hearing directly from the Waldens the story of Christopher, how they got to this place, and what is motivating them to help other people in the state of Alaska.
If someone would have told us when Chris was 12 years old that he was going to have an addiction problem, we would have probably laughed at him and said, yeah, no, that's just not his personality. You don't know you need it until you need it, and then it's all consuming of your life.
Chris had this way of attracting friends. He'd walk into a room within a minute. He had that aura about him that just attracted people. And it was in school that way. It was, in wherever we went, he would just walk into a room and people would recognize him. He just had that personality.
We noticed the first signs of trouble with Chris was when he was probably about 14 years old. At first it's all fun and games, and it's kids in high school and partying and doing all the things. And for those parents who think that cigarettes and alcohol isn't the gateway to bigger things in their life down the road, you need to rethink that. As time went on, we started to see his grades fail, and he had his up and down battles. And then he kind of went off the deep end, and he got into heroin. And it started out with prescription pills, like it does with most kids. And from there, when the money gets low and accessibility for prescription pills gets low, they switch over to heroin. And we had some really, really challenging times with him.
That first 30-day program we sent him out to, that was difficult. We had a lot of hope and said a lot of prayers, and we had a lot of faith in the system to come back 2 weeks later. I'm Air Force. I was retired at that point, or active duty at that point, and the Air Force TRICARE system sent him down to his 30-day program. But it's a one and done. They send you to one program, and after that, Dara and I were looking at each other saying, what can we do? We found a place in Prescott, Arizona, and a community down there that welcomed him with open arms. He ended up going there 4 or 5 different times. The last time we sent him back, he overdosed in the bathroom, his bathroom upstairs, and had to knock down the door to get to him and called the ambulance. My parents were here. It opened our eyes. He's got a huge problem. And he knew that we all knew that it was his turn to go down. And then we had to play the hard game. I remember sending him 2 large pizzas to a vacant house and paying for it so he had food because he had no food. His respect for his older brother and his older brother's love for him saved his life again. And Casey asked him to come to Maui. Casey was stationed in Maui and worked at the Maui Research Center, and Chris said, yes, I'm on a plane.
Christopher and I, we met in Maui. no better place to fall in love, I guess, than a tropical island. And it was the ground running from the moment we met. He was one of the most passionate people I've ever met. And we met one night and I followed him around the whole night and he asked me to be his girlfriend. Like within 3 days, had a lot of fun times and a lot of hard times with our addictions and with life, being on our own and trying to, create a life together.
Chris changed his world again and got back on the straight and narrow, had a wonderful job. There was a few relapses here and there, but for the most part, he was good enough that after he met Sasha, that we thought it's time for us to bring him into our business. It was a trial to get him his real estate license. It was a trial he's under 2 years probation, but we got him into our business. And he walked right out of the box selling houses. I mean, he was amazing. I walk out of my office and Dar walks out, where's he getting all this stuff? And he was like, I've been trapped in the car with Mom, talking real estate for 10 years. You'd think I'd learned something. And we thought we were on the road to recovery then, but we knew that pride was still a big part of it.
2 weeks before he died, he always said he never wanted to have children because he was afraid they would be like him and his struggles that he had. And 2 weeks before he died, we were in the boat and he looked at me and he said, Mom, Sasha's gonna be done with nursing school in May. And he goes, I just wanna let you know we're gonna start a family. And I remember this sigh of relief coming over me. And I said to myself, thank you, God, we are there. When he said he wanted to have a child, and he did caveat that with, he goes, I don't want a little boy, I just need a mini Sasha. And I'm like, son, there's no guarantee on that, right? But that was the moment when I really thought, for the first time in his 33 years, that we were over the hump of addiction. And 2 weeks later, he died.
When they found him, I remember the police telling me, you have such a beautiful home. He looks so healthy. This is just something that I wouldn't have expected walking into this house. We had such a beautiful life, and addiction just creeps up on you, and not asking for help or not feeling like there's help around is where we're being robbed of these people we love from this disease of addiction.
I just felt lost and broken. I finally got enough firewood to last for the night, and I was exhausted. And so I finally laid down and I woke up and there was no fire in the fireplace. I was freezing cold and I didn't know what to do. I just broke down and cried. And all of a sudden I'm like, I can call Set Free and I could call Shannon. And so I called Shannon and I'm crying and I'm like, I need help, I'm pregnant. I'm cold, I'm freezing, I don't have anywhere to go, and I want a better life for myself, and I don't want my baby to be born addicted. And she's like, well, where are you at? So I told her where I was, and within the hour, she met me, and she picked me up and took me to the women's shelter. I just took that time to reflect on myself. I didn't think of anything else but what I needed to do, and the reason why I was in treatment.
At Set Free Alaska, we use a mind, body, spirit approach to recovery. So we're dealing with the physical aspects of addiction, the brain aspects of addiction, but also the emotional aspects of addiction, the thought process that go into that, and helping people reestablish healthy patterns of thinking. We also realize that there's a spiritual component to our being, and we're focusing on that as well, combining the spirit, soul, body, physical, emotional, and spiritual aspects of freedom.
And about 3 months in, I was going through some hard things in there. I went to my room and I just prayed. I prayed to God to help me get through it, to take that away from me. And I knew that speaking about it would help me, because once you speak about something, it releases. And from that day forward, I felt different. I felt new and refreshed. I graduated. I had a date set in mind. I wanted to graduate before my baby turned a year old, and I was actually able to make that goal happen, and so that was really good. And I ended up coming to the recovery residence that Set Free had just opened up. It was good. I was so happy that Set Free had opened up a recovery residence because I didn't know where I was going to go after treatment. I knew that if I left treatment without somewhere else to go, I'd be back on the streets. I felt at home. I felt safe. I felt welcomed and loved. They did nothing but shower me with compassion and no judgment. And the no judgment part is what topped it for me, is because I dealt with judgment my whole life, and I didn't want to deal with that anymore. They just gave me positive affirmations every day, encouraged me, and just kept telling me, keep doing your best, keep doing good, and you're gonna make it.
Recovery residence really focuses on individuals who are coming out of a residential treatment center or who are coming out of incarceration. And the goal of it is to help them build stability for their future in the long term, to help reduce recidivism and keep them from going back into jail, to help get them a solid footing so that they can actually move forward in the recovery and in the hope for their future. One of the primary factors that keeps people in addiction is they don't have a safe and a sober place to live. And 30 days, 60 days, even a couple months is not enough time for them to get all the pieces of their life back together. When someone goes through our recovery residence program, they graduate out with a year or more sobriety, with employment, with a rental history, with a deposit, all the things that they need to actually take that next step in walking out their future and destiny in lasting freedom.
That's what I love about Set Free, is that they give you the motivation to want to be better, to help you be better. And that's what they did for me. And so I'm just very thankful that they had this program available. It helped me become who I am now. I got here, and not even 2 weeks after I was here, I found a job. They helped me get my license. They helped me get my social security card, and I saved up enough money, bought myself a car, and not even 2 months after that, I found my own place. I got my kids back in December. Like the week of Christmas, they were like, yep, you can start home trial visits with your kids. And they've been in our house ever since. It's been awesome.
It's so good to hear stories like that. You never want to give up on your children. You never want to give up on your friends or your family. I think the reason why we connected so well with Philip at Set Free is because he has the same mindset, the same mission that we have.
I just really liked Philip and his program and the whole how Set Free did things. And so we started having meetings, and that's how this cultivated. And we're just super excited now because our mission is to save lives. How many people would we lose waiting? So we are just super excited about this partnership that we have going.
What we're trying to do is we're trying to provide a place for people to go. We want to save lives. You know, if you're in that 25, 30, 35 year range, you're out of the house. You're not a child anymore. But if you still have an addiction issue, where do you turn to? And who do you go to? And we want to be able to raise that flag and say, it's us.
That is what we're trying to do with the Christopher Walden House of Hope, is have this nonprofit there for those struggling, where they can reach out their hand and know that we will not judge them, that if you can't afford it, we will help you. We are a safe place to go, and any walks of life are welcome at the Christopher Walden House of Hope. And you know, if only Christopher knew that he could talk about his struggles and that no one would judge him, I think he would have asked for help.
And I know that that's what Chris would want, is to save lives. And that's what we're here for, is we're here to save lives in Christopher's name. We aren't going to reap the benefits of these facilities, but it might be your kids that do, or your family members that do.
We believe that if someone can find hope for their future, that there is something they're looking forward to, something that they're dreaming of, that they have been reestablished in a place of hope. Having hope is so crucial to lasting freedom. Not only hope, but healing. It's the deep trauma, the wounds, the hurts that lead to the addiction and the things that we do in our lives to try to numb that pain. Hope, healing, and resilience. If we can build strategies and tools and practical things and support systems around them that they have the resilience necessary to walk out that freedom long term, that will bring about lasting change for the residents in our communities.
Our hope is that the Christopher Walden House of Hope is investing in the future of Alaska. There's no better opportunity right now for the community to step up and help us. This is for you, and it takes the community to do this. And our hope is to be able to get some power behind us, some major corporations that understand this and that want to help give back to the future, because if they're giving back to the future of Alaska, they're giving back to their companies, because this affects all of us.
I am so thankful for the partnership that we are developing with the Christopher Walden House of Hope, with the family and the friends and the loved ones that have gathered around their mission.